Hello, expatriates. Manfrella is excited for you to be locating to our offices in Finsbury, England. Finsbury is most known for its pizza, fashion district, top-notch pubs, and European football. Today, we will be presenting the following: UK culture, history, tips and recommendations to help you adjust as easily as possible.
England is located in the northwest corner of Europe, separated from the European continent by the Northern Sea and English Channel. England is often referred to as Great Britain and the UK, and both are correct. UK actually consists of 4 countries: England, Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland. The United Kingdom's formal name is the United Kingdom of Great Britain and Northern Ireland. This pie chart shows the 2011 census demographics in England. In England, you will find 85.4% white, 7.8% Asian, 3.5% black, and 3.6% mixed. However, London is one of the largest and most renowned international cities in the world, so these numbers don't accurately reflect the diversity that is found in London. London is one of the most ethnically diverse cities, and the population in the 2011 census was 8,173,941. And of this number, only 44.9% were British white.
England has a deep and rich history. At its peak, it covered 1/4 of the surface of the world. UK was invaded by Romans in 55 BC, which brought local islanders in contact to Europe. When the Roman Empire was weakened, it was invaded again by the Saxons, then by the Vikings, and finally by Normans. In 1282, the English conquered the Welsh, and the king's son became the Prince of Wales. Scotland became a part of the British Crown in 1602 and Ireland in 1801. However, in 1912, the Irish rebelled and the southern part of Ireland seceded into what we now know as the Irish Free State. In the 1900s, the UK became a less dominant world power and continued to lose control over the colonies, and was weakened by World War I. As you can see, you will be in and around countries with deep and rich history.
England is under a constitutional monarchy and parliament system under Queen Elizabeth II's rule. They have the 5th largest economy in the world, and their gross domestic product has a market value of $3.04 trillion. When you're shopping around, don't be surprised when your US dollar gets you less pounds than you expected. 1 British pound is equivalent to $1.29. The main industries today in England are banking, finance, steel, transport equipment, oil, gas, and of course tourism. What is Brexit, you may ask? So Brexit was founded by Theresa May, the former Minister of England, and the proposal included England leaving the European Union. When asked the Britons, 48% wanted to leave and 52% wanted to stay part of it. And when they asked the English, 47% wanted to leave and 53% wanted to stay. What are the pros and cons of leaving the Union? So the pros include that England would truly be an independent nation. It would improve border control security, and there would be immediate saving costs since they're not paying the annual membership dues of £13.1 billion since 2016. Some cons to leaving the European Union have already taken effect. There is a 2% smaller economy. Weekly loss concludes up to £8 million. Hourly loss is £4.7 million. And there will also be a limitation on protection of equal pay, maternity leave, safe workplaces. That would be like your breaks, 30-minute unpaid lunch, paternity leave up to 4 months, worker protection, and there will also be a labor shortage of goods, products, and services since there wouldn't be a demand for them anymore.
You may notice in your preliminary research that England and the United States have a lot of commonalities. If we look at Hofstede's culture dimensions, we see that masculinity, individualism, and indulgence are a few dimensions where the US and England rate similarly. Long-term orientation, power distance, and uncertainty avoidance are the dimensions with the bigger gaps between the two countries. To illustrate these differences, we will reference our country expert, Marcus Britton. He has worked the last 2 years in Manchester, just outside of London, for the same company that he previously worked for in the States for 10 years. The company he worked for was US Sport, and the subsidiary was NBC Camps. For uncertainty avoidance, we can generalize that England is more comfortable being off schedule. They can go day to day not knowing exactly what the plan is. They even have a term for it called muddling through. For example, we don't really have a plan, we're just going to muddle through. Marcus experienced this when he moved across the pond and admitted it took time to get used to it. In the States, the NBC camp runs off of a very detailed schedule. Counselors know weeks in advance what they will be doing on what day. In England, the camp coordinator will meet with the team leads in the morning and tell them generally what they will be going over. Marcus did not know day to day what he would be working on with his team, where in the States, he knew exactly what he'd be working on. This is a really great example of uncertainty avoidance and the different comfortability levels between the countries. For long-term orientation, we can reference the same example. U.S. scores normative in this dimension. We tend to approach change with skepticism. The site director in the States sticks to a regular schedule because that is what has been done for the last 50 years. And it works. The Manchester team has been around for only 20 years and has never stuck to a strict schedule. They are used to adjusting with new information and don't acknowledge time-honored traditions within the camp. Power distance also has a noticeable gap. It's only a 5-point difference, but considering you are managing English employees, we find it important to share. In the States, Marcus shared that all decisions, changes, and ideas have to make their way up the ladder, and there is noticeable separation between the ranks. In the Manchester camp, it is not uncommon for the newbie coach to get drinks or have lunch with the head honcho site director. Don't feel disrespected if your employees invite you out for drinks. In the English culture, there tends to be less hierarchical divide.
For Aaron Meyer's cultural mapping, we noticed our two biggest differences are the way we communicate and how we trust one another. For communication, the US is more low context, versus the UK, they lean closer to the middle of the scale for low and high context. So the UK is higher than the US, so the conversation will have more layers to it in such ways as the tone of someone's voice, body language, versus them just saying it how it is. And for trusting, the US is very trusting, will talk about anything, make friends pretty fast. And then while the UK, they again lean closer to the middle of the scale for trusting. The UK, the relationships are based on how well you know someone versus how your quality of work is. And then for evaluating, leading, decision, disagreeing, and scheduling, we are very similar on Aaron Meyer's culture mapping.
The first purchase you should make is an Oyster card. This will allow you to easily use the underground, or often referred to as the tube. Public transportation will quickly become part of your daily routine. Having a car in the city is a hassle and expensive, as you will have to pay everything on the city streets. Be sure to look right when crossing the road. They drive on the left side of the street. Another adjustment for you that you might have to make is that in England, everything is smaller. Flats or apartments, cars, grocery stores, portion sizes, and washers.
Some basic tips to help get you by as you make this transition are making sure to use handshakes for your greetings. You may have seen in TV that English people kiss and hug, but that is actually reserved for close family and friends. Another tip, don't insult the royal family. This may sound simple, but it is actually taken very seriously. Even asking serious questions about their family and their private lives is seen as an insult. Embrace the pub culture. This is something that you are going to experience very quickly when you get over there. Pubs are on every corner, and that is something that most of your employees are going to do at lunch or after work. It's a way of life. If you go to dinner parties, make sure to leave shortly after dinner ends, and write a thank you note to the host. While you are over in England, try to visit as many museums as possible. Most of them offer free admission, and you can have the whole world at your fingertips. Thank you for listening. Manfrella is excited to have you at our Finsbury plant in England. We hope that the tips and differences have helped you get a better understanding of what you can expect as you make the move across the pond.